So we can get started. So the first rule of this event is that you should all have your phones and tablets or computers on and continue to tweet about the event. So we're not going to tell you to shut off your phone, we want you to use your phones. So let's see how many of you will be able to do the highest tweeting today. So we will be counting that, and then we'll get back to you as to who did the most tweeting today. So welcome everyone. How many of you were here for the last event, the social networking SIG event on Thursday? Okay, only few of you. And so what I wanted to do was, how many people here have come first time to any TIE event? All right. So let me talk a little bit about what TIE is all about. We are about fostering entrepreneurship. And then entrepreneurship to us does not just necessarily mean going and leaving a company and starting your own, but also means working as an entrepreneur inside a corporation. So we encourage both for people to really start their own companies as well as do the innovation while staying inside the companies and creating that entrepreneurship within their organization. So how do we foster this entrepreneurship? We have a test that we run on any program that we do. So one of the things we do is inspire. We want the programs to inspire people to really take that road. So today's event is really focused at the inspiration part. We do education. Educate you about what is happening in the marketplace, what are the things that are hot in the industry. So we have 5 vertical groups, which we call the special interest group, all the way from social, mobile, cloud, as well as health sciences and energy. And each of those groups conduct their own events. And so there was one event Thursday, which some of you were at, and there will be more events, so please keep looking for these things. And the third thing we do is we help you connect, because at the end of the day, it's all about networking. And as you get more and more into entrepreneurship, you will discover that networking is that very important ingredient of this. So also we have a next event coming up on Thursday, which is pure networking event, because I know how hard it was for us to make you guys come in. So in this event, there is no agenda. You will just come in to meet people and have a good time. So we'll encourage you, if you haven't registered for it, please register for it. It is this Thursday coming up. Also the TIE stakeholders. There are 3 stakeholders in TIE, and the first stakeholders are the charter members. These are people who actually pay to TIE to volunteer. So, and there are all accomplished individuals in their own right who have, whose accomplishments are really well known to the rest of the industry. So there are a lot of charter members here, and I would request that if they can please stand up, I would appreciate that so everybody can see who they are. No, that's why I'm standing up.
He's always standing up. He's a TIE marketing chair, he's a TIE board, so thank you, Paul.
Thanks. So why did I make these people stand up? For one very simple reason, that if you are an entrepreneur and you want to network with people who can help you steer in some direction your entrepreneurial dreams, then you want to connect with one of these people because they are highly accomplished, they've traveled this road before, and you may be able to maybe entice one of them to be your mentors. The second leg that TIE works on is sponsorship. And that is where a lot of the companies that sponsor various events, and I know there are some representative from some of our sponsors, so maybe can I request them to please stand up as well? Anybody who is representing any of the sponsors? And thank you very much. So we appreciate your help, so thank you. And then all of you are members. People who attend all these events, Some of you become the annual member. Some of you like to come to every event and pay for it. How many of you are actually Thai members? Okay, that's a pretty good number today. The people who didn't have their hands raised, I would encourage you to become a member. It's only $99. You can in fact sign up for the membership right outside here. If you're too lazy to go home and sign up, you can do it right here. We make it easy for you. And therefore, you will get a benefit on every one of these programs, and you will get a huge discount as well. And there are few member-only programs that are also in the works, along with the ones that already exist. So before I turn over to Naveen to talk about today's event, let me just talk about one other very important event in Thai, which is ThaiCon. So ThaiCon, has any of you attended ThaiCon ever? Okay, good. So last year we had 3,500 people. This year we want to break that record and go past 4,000. And I think many of you may know that ThaiCon was also nominated in the top 10 conferences by Worth Magazine. And this year's ThaiCon is going to be May 18th and 19th in Santa Clara. And if you haven't signed up yet, you can go ahead and sign up now. We already have about 300 plus people who have already signed up or more, but this is the count as of last week. So people are already signing up for the conference, and we'll be announcing some of the keynotes and other speakers starting next week. With that, let me turn over to Naveen.
You guys are having fun? Doesn't look like. I just wanted to make sure that Paul didn't put you to sleep. Well, there is still wine available. Some bottles are still there, so that's the, if you want to get start having some fun, please go ahead and get have some. So it's free. So anyway, how many of you are starting a new company right now? Okay, great. So we have you should get rid of Bobby, and there are a few VCs also here. I'll tell you later on. And Vis, of course, he's with Clearstone Ventures, so don't leave him before he goes. So, and Thai Angels, of course. So, and how many of you are involved with a startup? Okay. So now, so have you heard a saying which says anytime you start working on a new idea that there are about 6 to 7 other companies or 6 to 7 other teams doing the same thing? How many of you have heard that? Not really, so there's no competition. So anyway, you should assume that. So anytime you are starting a company, just assume there are 6 to 8 other guys who are focusing on the same thing. It's amazing. I don't know whether it's in the air or something happens. That's at least I have experience over the last 15 or 16 years. So every time you think you have the greatest idea, there will be 6 or 7 guys who are hunkering down, you may not even know, and they suddenly when you launch, there are those companies sprout up. So what does that mean? So the main question is, how do you rise above this noise of these startups who come and also are in your market space or in the same category? And also, if it's an emerging category, that means you will have competition from even the larger players, larger vendors who are there. So that's a big question. So this is what Bobby did. Not only he pioneered enterprise learning category in 1997 by founding Saba, but he has grown the company into a 100 million plus enterprise business software company by providing cloud and service solutions for engagement, development, and inspiration of an organization's most and mission critical assets. Can you guess what that is? People. You know, the company, have you heard a saying called company is nothing but people? And you do business with people. That's why it's so important. And that's really, that's really great. So what Bobby has done. So not only that, today Saba is a publicly listed company, profitable, and has over 1,600 customers, and 51% of Fortune 100 companies are their customers. And this customer list includes broad range of industry sectors, public sectors, and various industries, including who is who of the industries like BMW, IBM, Procter and Gamble, Medtronic, US Navy and US Army. In addition, Bobby has been a very active angel investor in even some of the companies which you probably know about and use it every day, like Google, Salesforce.com, of course that you may not use if you're just end user, but so these are the high-profile companies, including some of the startups which have been acquired by Google, like Artwork, CleverSense, most recently, and then at the same time now, he has been in one of those high-flying companies like Dropbox. I'm sure you heard that they raised their last valuation was around $6 billion. So I don't know, you need to ask him what is his secret of finding these companies and being able to invest there. So for it, especially our Thai Angels chair is here, you should definitely have a chat with Bobby so we can get into one of those companies too. So with that, without taking too much of a thrill from Bobby's story, I would like to invite Bobby Yazdani, founder, chairman, and CEO, to share his amazing, colorful, and exciting entrepreneurial journey today with us this evening. So let's give him a big round of applause.
That's okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Naveen, for the introduction. And thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate the audience and the venue. You know, what an entrepreneur is always looking for is an audience and a venue to tell a story. So, they told me why I'm here is because I like to tell a good story. And if you're an entrepreneur, that's one thing you gotta learn very quick. You gotta be able to tell the story. If people like the story, they're gonna follow you. And if you can't tell a good story, it's very, very hard to get people to follow you. So that would be my first advice, is to make sure you tell a good story. Just quickly, kind of my bio, who I am. I was born in Tehran, Iran. My parents are both Iranians. I left Iran, I think I was 16, just 16. Right after the revolution, I went to a boarding school in England, and I had a sister who was a student at Berkeley and says the weather is much better than England. And you can go skiing in about a couple of hours from here, and you can go swimming, and this is a much better place, so you better get here. So that's how I ended up at Berkeley. I studied math and computer science when I was at Berkeley, and I have to tell you, Berkeley left a lasting experience for me. It really helped me as an individual. I came from Middle East with all the idiosyncrasies of my culture and where I came from. And I think Berkeley, the environment at Berkeley and my professors and my fellow students left a, truly a lifetime impact. And the openness of that campus and the culture there really helped me to develop me in a very certain and a different way. I started programming when I was 17, just literally a year after I left Iran. And I found a computer lab in my school in England, and subsequently when I went to Berkeley. And I was making a whole lot more money than a lot of people at the age of, I think, 21, because I knew how to program when I was a student at Berkeley. Not a lot of people knew how to program. They didn't know what Unix was even those days, or what it was email at that time. I left there. I worked at Oracle for some 10 years. And I saw an entrepreneurial effort, I hang on, that's okay. Thanks very much. I saw a company who, started with, I think it was 600 people when I joined them, and Larry Ellison was the person who used to interview every single person being hired in the engineering team back those days. And 10 years later, there were I think 22,000 people when I left Oracle. there was a lot of things that I enjoyed and learned by being at Oracle, and there were many things that I wanted nothing to do with it. And that was one of the reasons I left and started my own company. I did not leave Oracle to make money. I left Oracle and I wanted to start my own company. My motivation was to own my company. And I wanted to be my culture, I wanted to be my way. And it was really not financially motivated, it was more cultural, it was more my own kind of way I wanted to do things, and I wanted to create my own environment. That was kind of what was driving me at that time. You know, so I started Saba in 1997 with a few colleagues, and the odds and everything were totally against us. And I cannot tell you how many people told me that I shouldn't do it. I cannot tell you how many times I heard no. I can tell you that my persistent and my colleagues' persistent was really the motivation, you know, why I'm here today. I'm very fortunate to kind of trust my own instincts and have encouraging friends and colleagues and family that got me through those very many doubtful moments to get to where I am here today. You'll see this a little bit later on. As an entrepreneur, I think I was one of the youngest entrepreneurs to take a company public. I was in early 30s. My mission was to start a company, and I took it public, and I left my company. So I'm no longer an entrepreneur running Saba. I'm a turnaround CEO running Saba. I came back and found the company in a very bad shape, and very, very different experience. But again, my entrepreneurial instincts helped me to get through even the second experience I have had with my own company that I created many, many years back. For that period that I was gone, I was, again, I was fortunate to get to know a lot of entrepreneurs. I invested my money into a number of entrepreneurs, and I learned a lot by being an investor and supporter of other entrepreneurs. So again, my motivation of who I am today and what I do is mostly driven in the way I want to develop myself. So why I'm here today, because I think this venue is going to make me a better person by just being here and talking to you. And that's really what drives me in everything I do, whether supporting other entrepreneurs, doing entrepreneurial effort. And I think the journey is not about making money. The journey is about being a better person and developing yourself through that journey. If you get that right, you just accomplish a whole lot. And it's a very, very different and a high quality journey, trust me. It's far more high quality if you approach it that way. I have few influencers and passions. You know, I race horses, I compete horses. That's one thing I do beside entrepreneurship. And I actually like farming. And I like the land. I grew up in a farming family, so I go back to that passion quite a bit. I've traveled 62 countries, and I've done business with over 50 countries. I actually exchanged money with people. I tell you, it's a very easy way when people like you. That's the other thing that you need to learn as an entrepreneur. People like to do business if they like you. And doing the right things and create an environment where people actually like you is a very, very, very important part of entrepreneurship. Just 30-second commercial on Saba. You know, I started looking at the learning processes and training processes in large organizations, and I took the internet as a transformative infrastructure to change the way people actually deliver training. That was the kind of the early genesis or the promise of Saba, is to change and transform the way learning and training gets done in large organizations. And we were very successful. We were kind of the last man standing in that category. We were the last person actually entered into the category. And we built a very successful large business, kind of transforming the training and the learning market. And then the story went on. So now that we're done with that category, we look at other categories and transforming other categories. So I started focusing on beyond learning, looking at the people processes in large organizations. And I wanted to discipline those processes, so I started looking at how do we transform HR, and looking at how do we transform HR so that we can have technologies and capabilities, so we can have best practices, modern practices, managing people processes in large organizations. The average customer at Sava is over 10,000 employees. 75% of our customers are over 10,000 employees. So these businesses, they need to find technologies and processes to scale the way they build competencies and the way they actually align and manage their people asset in these large businesses. And that's where our technology coming. And I'm realizing that it's really, really hard to standardize across all of these businesses, different cultures, different countries, different languages. And this is a very tough market in many regards, but it's a very rewarding market because of what we do. About 2 years ago, I decided to transform Sava again. Now, this is after I came back, just kind of give you the chart of, there's a slide here that shows you kind of the chart. I left the company after I took it public in 2002. I came back in 2004. The company was being delisted from NASDAQ. I got a call from Mike Moritz from Sequoia, and our general counsel said, can you get back to the office on Monday before they turn over the management team? And I came back in 2004. It was a $30 million business, and this year we are kind of concluding north of 130 million in revenue, and we've made money every year, with the exception of the first year that I arrived throughout these years. And now I've taken a $130 million business from an enterprise software company to a cloud-based business, and now transforming it again. So my mission is now, how do I take a $130 million business, make it a $500 million business? And what are the strategic things that I need to do to get me through all of these? So there's a whole history and evolution I had to go through to not only transform myself, but transform my business and transform my leadership team and develop myself through all of these phases of this business. There's a very good slide here. We actually started our company in the garage, and I did fund the company for 2 years. And I had started a family, and I had twin boys that showed up by accident in the middle of all of this. So everything is gonna go sort of like not by the plan. You have to just get on with it. And yes, and the next slide, before you know it, we were a public company at NASDAQ. So you'll take it as it comes, and you enjoy the journey. And enjoy the journey, and be honest throughout the journey, and if you do the right things will happen. And you just keep doing it over and over again. This is something that I want to share with the entrepreneurs here. We actually have a business, and we have stated core values. These are the principles that we've had many, many years. And I can tell you that we started our business with no customers and no technology, but we did have core values. Because I just didn't want to build a business to make money. I wanted to build a lasting business. Now, I didn't know what would be the outcome, but I wanted to have a place where, is the kind of environment that I want to be part of. Now, I mean, nowadays when I sit around and I see a lot of entrepreneurs, before they haven't even started, they're thinking about selling their businesses. Or they're thinking about building businesses to exit those businesses. And I can tell you, as someone who has built a business or have been part of building businesses, successful businesses, I think for my last count, the businesses that are either founded or I was associated with it, we have 150,000 people working on those businesses today. And that's the way we measure our contribution as entrepreneurs, are the lives and the people we actually impact. And I do encourage you guys to go back to those sort of principles, and I discourage the mindset, of just return on investment. There's more to entrepreneurship. There's a whole lot more to entrepreneurship because you impact people's lives. And there is a right way and there is a wrong way. And I do encourage you guys, as you create these businesses, you have to have a stated core values. And I cannot imagine customers want to do business with you if you don't have set of core values. I walk into a Ford Motor Company, I remember we had only 5 customers, but our core values was the 3rd slide. And I told them that you can count on these. And I encouraged them to do business with us because we did have stated core values. So it sounds old-fashioned, doesn't it? But I do encourage you guys, there is a right way, there is a wrong way. And entrepreneurs, they're more than just making money. I mean, I look at Larry Ellison, I mean, he employs today, and I remember him when he employed 600 people, and now he has and at Oracle, we have over 100,000 employees there, that people are working there, and it's incredible. The prosperity that it brought to our community here in Bay Area and many, many other communities worldwide. So it's more to it, it's more to it. We are recognized, the company is recognized quite a bit, over years, and a lot has been accomplished by Saba. But Naveen asked me to come here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of the tactical things, the strategic issues that I have to deal with at a public company. We have close to 1,000 employees. How do I think about things, and how do I transform that business, moving it forward? But I thought I would share with you some of the principles that I would, want to carry as an entrepreneur, and I look when I talk to entrepreneurs. These are kind of my insights when I talk to entrepreneurs. This is what I look for when I talk to entrepreneurs. So the very first one, I believe that the most important thing is if you're doing something, make sure it's worthwhile. If you are going to take your time out of your life, and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, make sure you put that time on something that has to be a life changer for you as the entrepreneur, and the outcome of your work has to change. It has to be a big change for the receiving end of what you do. I see a lot of entrepreneurs that they're involved with a lot of efforts, but they don't ask themselves the very simple question, what's the impact of my work? Or whether spending my time on this particular thing is going to be a life changer for me. Do things that's going to change your life and be a life changer for you. And do things that have significant impact for others. If it doesn't measure up to that, be patient. Be patient. Don't go down a path that takes away your time, your precious time, and doing things that's not worthwhile. That's the starting point. You got to have a big enough vision and big enough impact to worth your time. Your time is the most important asset that you have. It has to be meaningful. It has to be big. The second thing that I look at when I look at the entrepreneurs is, do they actually see the future? Can they articulate the future? Entrepreneurs are strange breeds. They get to see these holes, and those holes will take them to the future that nobody else can see. And there are all these skeptics that would not believe them. They don't believe it's possible, or they don't believe it exists. But those are the ones that I look at how well they can articulate the future. Can actually they see the future? And can they really passionately talk about whether it exists, and how well they can describe the future? So I measure, again, the depth of the entrepreneur in the abstract ways they can describe the future. If they have a purpose, a meaningfully big thing, and they can articulate it, what that future looks like, and they can paint the vision of the story of that future very well, then I get more and more interested. The best entrepreneurs are the ones who have outrageous goals. And we are trained by the VCs to have acceptable goals. I completely disagree with them. That's why I like to take the biggest risk when they don't believe them. I like to deal with entrepreneurs that they can see the future and they have outrageous goals. When I saw Larry Ellison, he told me the day he hired me, he said, we would be as big as IBM in 1987. And there were 600 employees at Oracle. And he said, we're going to manage the information in the world. Probably a lot of people thought, it's crazy. Larry and Sergey at Google. The story was, we are going to be the Adobe of search. That's how they described it. Because Adobe came up with the PostScript. People couldn't print. There was a time that you couldn't actually print. And PostScript was the language that helped us print from any computer to any printer. Right? We would be the Adobe of search. And I had to actually sit down and think about it. Cisco, we're going to network the networks. It's very succinct, very simple, but it's a big, big vision. So yes, outrageous goals are important. Don't let them discourage you otherwise. Don't let anybody discourage you to have a big vision. Don't be shy about seeing the future and talking about the future and your belief what the future looks like. And don't be shy about setting out very, very big goals. That comes across as an authentic, really a big believer. You have to believe in you first before other people believe in you. As I said, your time is your biggest asset. I see entrepreneurs that while they're going through their entrepreneurship, they're distracted or they're involved with many other activities. 24/7. Because if you're not using that 24/7, there's a competition who's using that 24/7 to compete against you. You got to embrace the whole thing. This is a whole thing. This is not about part-time entrepreneurship. Either you do the whole thing and you take every minute, every second of a day to compete and to think about the problem you're trying to solve, or somebody else's. You just have to embrace the whole thing, 100%. There's no part-time entrepreneurship. It won't work. You gotta either go in all in or it won't work. Very seldom. You could get lucky, but that wouldn't, that would be too much risk. I encourage you that again, entrepreneurship is not a hobby. It's a 100%, 150%, 200% commitment to be an entrepreneur. We all know this. Persistence, resilience. I don't know how many times I've been down. I don't know how many times people looked at me and looked at my business and they thought I'm out. How many times, I had to help and encourage others while I was down. And the list goes on. Persistence is got to be at the core to the way you do things, and you behave. You can't give up on the first or the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth failure. You got to be persistent to get there. And just get up and keep on smiling. It's all about people. And here's a couple of pieces of advice. We all have subconscious. Get who influence it. People. The right people would influence it in the right way. The wrong people would influence it in the wrong way. So what comes around you and the people around you, and the way they influence you in a very strange way. The questions, the comments, the ideas can send you on the right trajectory or the wrong trajectory. Simple conversations I have seen how they influence entrepreneurs. and send them off in the wrong places with the wrong mindset. So be very cautious, not only the people in your team, but the people you actually listen to and you talk to. They really impact, they will impact you in many, many ways you don't know. So you have to pay a great deal of attention to that surrounding and the context and the impact of the people around you. And then there's an element here that I truly, truly believe in. I think entrepreneurship is about development. It's about you developing yourself and developing others. You gotta have that mindset that I'm in it because of all those good reasons, but one really important reason of being an entrepreneur is that this journey is going to develop you to be a better person. And then there is a full alignment, and it's gonna work in many, many ways for you. You know, you gotta have one foot on the ground and the other one you gotta keep pivoting. You gotta keep learning and changing and be flexible. Don't put all the rosy grasses on. Don't believe that you're the only one who have the best ideas or the only ideas. I mean, you gotta keep pivoting and learning and changing and evolving. And boy, who would have thought, and I remember Google, who would have thought they were supposed to be a B2B search engine, OEMing the search engine, and they keep pivoting, and here they are. You know, last but not least, I think that entrepreneurship, it comes with it a whole lot of responsibility. I'm responsible for the people in my company. I'm responsible for my customers, the people who put their jobs and their careers on the line. I'm responsible for, if you're a public company, your grandma could own my shares of my company. They can go into the open market and actually purchase our shares. So it's a lot of responsibility, and I take every one of those things very, very seriously. I greatly care about our employees. I greatly care about the trustfulness and the trustedness of our brand and who we are, and I greatly care about our customers. So entrepreneurship and responsibility to me are equal. They come. Great entrepreneurs are responsible for the people and that trusted them, whether they're colleagues, whether they're customers, or whether they're shareholders, investors. You have to be very protective of that trust that comes with it. So it comes with a lot of responsibility, and I enjoy it. I enjoy as an entrepreneur to have those very responsibilities. And then last but not least is I actually don't remember the last day I worked. I really don't remember that. I don't remember, I think the last day I worked was the last day I resigned from Oracle. And entrepreneurship is, why I'm here today is because I love what I do. And I love being and having the opportunity to be here with you. Many, many thanks. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bobby. Those are really insightful lessons. I thought you'll have David Letterman's 10 points, so I will ask you 2 more before we open it to the audience.
No problem.
So one of the challenges, I mean, it's more on the market, I guess. I guess, you're already pivoting, you're already in the process of transforming a 1,000+ employee company with over 100 million, 130 million plus revenue, 1,600+ customers into a cloud-based business model. So how are you trying to accomplish, this big feat?
Yeah, so,
It's working.
no, it's working. Yeah. From literally when I came back running the software, back in 2004, the company was an enterprise software company. We had software actually residing behind the firewall in large businesses, and we were licensing our technology. And we grew our business from 30 million to $100 million enterprise software company licensing our technology. And we grew earnings every year, like a good old-fashioned business of generating cash and being profitable, and we created absolutely no market value with our shares. Because the models and the market was changing. The customer and all our collective customers are moving very rapidly into the cloud. In 2008, I made a decision with the board that, either you have two choices. Either you exit the business with the old legacy model, or you transform the business. And you have to transform it with all of these elements of what is the right thing to do, or how do you create value, or what have you. It happened that 2008 was the meltdown. We actually didn't have a choice to sell the company, and I wasn't willing to sell the company at the bottom prices. So guess what I did? I went back to the board, and I agreed with the board that we're going to take all our profit, and we're going to tell the shareholders you're not going to have those profits, and we're going to use that money to transform the business. And that's what we did. So we transformed the business model, we transformed the technology, and more importantly, we transformed our organization, our mindset. So you got to have, it's not a single track, it's a multi-track transformation. By the way, I did ask half of the board members to leave, and I asked half of our leadership team to leave, because I needed new talent in each of these areas. And it was very, very hard to go through all of that, but we needed to do it. And I think we declined and killed our licensed business in 3 years, which is the highest profitable part of our business in 3 years. And nobody believed we can do it. We killed that business, plus we grew the business at the same time. But the reason we were able to do it, because we had the right mindset, we were transparent about it, we told everybody the way it's going to be, and we said, we have no choice but to change. And we told our customers, we told our employees, we told our board, and that's what got us through. We had one story, we had one transparent story, we had a good strategy, and we brought the right people. And here we are today. We added $300 million market cap in literally 2 years. And now our game plan is to take, no longer 300 million is good enough, how do I add $1 billion on top of that, and what kind of a transformation we need. And I'm fortunate to have new colleagues who have joined me, who are a whole lot smarter than me, who've been through this, and they're going to help me to think broader than what I know today. How do I take a business of this size and move it forward?
Thank you. So just a follow-up question, follow-up to this. How were you able to convince these customers? In fact, you mentioned most of them are large enterprise with 10,000 plus employees.
That's right. We still have quite a few of those customers behind the firewall, but it's actually our core values and the way we do business, it really helped us a lot. And the fact that we told them that we are a company, we have to transform ourselves to survive, and that's the choice we have. And we told them that. We told them the way it is. Plus the fact that we told them that you have to move forward, the whole market is moving there, and everything kind of came together. The market is driving the customers, not Saba. The market is telling the customers they have to move to the cloud, not Saba. We just happen to be the advocate for it, and that's all we did.
So one more question before we open to the audience. So I was reading an article in San Francisco Business Times, it was in 2010. You mentioned that hardest lessons learned, one of the items was when you don't trust your instinct. So can you cite an example?
Oh, there's just been many times. I think you'll be fortunate. You will grow your business, and you will be a day that you'll be sitting in a boardroom, and it's a very uncomfortable moments where you have these tough conversations with your board of directors, or you have similar conversations with your management team, and you are the odd person in the room. You're the entrepreneur, and you kind of get the devil's. Being an entrepreneur is a very funny thing to be. In some ways, when everything is going well, everybody's up yourself. When everything is going wrong is all you're doing, right? And there were many moments that I think that my instincts and my principles, both of them, kind of guide me. Just there are many moments that you ask yourself, there are doubts and there are many questions. You don't have all the information. You kind of have a best guess, but you don't. There are competing elements there, and you keep asking which one, and ultimately you just have to go back to your own instincts and ask yourself, what is the right thing to do long term? What is the right thing to do for my employees? What is the right thing to do for my customers? What's the right thing to do for my shareholders? It's not about you. It's about everybody else and what's right and what's wrong. And you have the answer. So people, strategies, priorities, walking away from customers, walking away from Walmart, and telling them, you're going to take us down. We don't think we should do business with you. And our competitors did, and they took them out. It's just those moments that you have to say, everybody's going to say, you're odd. What did you try to do?
All right, with that great insight, I'm going to open it to the audience. I'm sure they have a lot of questions. And here.
When you were at Oracle, you must have had a vision as to what this company would look like. Do you remember what you saw when you knew you had to go this way? What did it look like?
I remember I was coming back from Boeing. Boeing was an Oracle customer. And I was just fascinated by that business. And I was fascinated with the complexity of that business. And we came out of the plant, and there were people supervising in charge of that plant. And I asked the questions, how many people work in this plant? They said, I don't know, 2,000 people, 3 different shifts. And then I asked, all of these people touch this, product that essentially flies children and people. How do you make sure that these people are doing the right things with the right knowledge? And how do you make these things, coming from a software world? I was just fascinated by that complexity. And they talked about the disciplines that they have to develop their skills, and the kind of the charts and the processes and the people who their sole job is to make sure that the people that touch that product have the right skills and the competence to touch that product. Then I asked the question, well, how do you transfer this knowledge from this plant to the guys who actually service it on the other part of the world? And they said, we have a whole other organization who does that, and we train all these people to maintain this equipment. And then the list goes on and on. And coming from the world of information, I asked myself, how do you actually develop skills and knowledge and know-how in value chain of large organizations? How do you do this? And it's very expensive, it's very human intensive. And at the time I could see, I knew about internet in '93, and I just put the two things together. So this is going to enable something that wasn't possible before. And that's what I'm fascinated. I've talked with my colleagues here. We have a project right now with Fiat and Chrysler, two automotive manufacturers that actually are merging and coming together. And they're merging their product lines. They're merging their distributions. They're merging their plants. And they have to standardize on the complexity of one product line to become very profitable and create leverage. The problem is not the suppliers. The problem are not the designs. It's all human beings that are in the value chain, and how do you transform this value chain of people with the right skills to actually accommodate the product line. Another client of ours, a customer is BMW. 7-8 years from now, you will only see electric cars on the shop floor. How do you transform 2 million people's know-how in their value chain of the suppliers, mechanics, manufacturers to a completely new architecture or a design? To me, these are fascinating, large high impact problems. We have, I have great stories about our customers and how we impact people's lives. And, I was at TCS in Mumbai, and was talking to the CIO there, and they were talking about, I remember, by the way, when TCS was 30,000 people, and they have 200,000 people, and their mission to be 400,000 people over the next 3-4 years, and it's all about people, know-how, developing skills, and doing it in a sustainable, ongoing fashion. So that's what I saw. I got passionate about it. I was tired of indexes and information, and I got fascinated by people. And everything that we do is about people. The information is not the center of my world anymore. I've done that my past life. And my new world is about people. And how do you think about people as the core differentiators in innovation, in customer care, in competition, in transformation? And that's what I'm fascinated. So my journey is just getting started. I'm no different than Larry Ellison with 600 people. And by the way, again, he was 8 years already in business, and saying that I'm going to manage the information in the world. And what I want Solo to do is